Kame! And hello again, folks. It is I, Kamikaze. I'm here to bring you something a little bit different today. And what it is I'm doing a movie review. I know that sounds weird, but this movie I found on the Amazon Prime thing. I decided to sign up for the 30-day trial so I could get some 2-day shipping on some things I needed. So, hopped over there, took a look, and went down to the anime section. Under the anime section, the recommendation it gave me was The Misty Green Sky. I was like, meh, why not? Hit play. I've got an hour and a half to kill. And to give you an idea of this movie, imagine if the Seed of the Arcane people made a movie. If you don't know who the Seed of the Arcane people are, go look up Seed of the Arcane on my channel. You will see some videos of the game, and then when they released a giant update, I mean, it was really, really bad. But moving on from that, this, to put you in the visual mindset, if you are old enough for this, Reboot, an old three-dimensional cartoon that existed. It was like really bad graphics, really bad movement of the characters themselves, but that one had a good show, that one had good voice actors, and this doesn't. It really doesn't. So now that you know how the models move, and yeah, that's pretty much how the models move and how the textures look, we have high-resolution people in a low-resolution world. We're talking that their beauty is ridiculous skin deep. We're talking 4K resolution textures of every finger, freckle, everything. But then you've got the poorly generated world that looks like a 12-year-old decided to create some 3D models of buildings and so forth and then slap stickers on the side of it and called it a movie. Two-dimensional fires. I mean, I can live with that. Broken lasers. I mean, there's lasers that shoot and blow things up that really don't work well, and I'll cover all of that, at a later point in time. And one of the first things we're going to cover is the cameos. Not really cameos, but these are like store-bought textures. They bought them, copy-pasted them, or they found them and pasted them, because we've got the key thing here is we've got a Cyberman from Doctor Who, slightly altered, so that way it's probably not copyright infringement, playing a piano, but not actually playing a piano, holding his hands upward, and these magical keys start playing music, and lights shooting out everywhere, which it just goes on for a ridiculously long time of this music, and they decided that, you know what, we're going to throw every special effect we've got into this performance. We've got music, balls, lighting effects, everything going every which way. Next thing you know, it starts spiraling up, like in a presentation manner, but it's spiraling up, being held up by a gorilla. Yeah, that's right. It was held up by a gorilla. That was it. And then the song ends, and the character watching laughs and claps her hands. It's like, I don't even know why that started. She walked by the robot, and then it decided to do this itself. Which brings me to the music and sound effects of this game. The music is a clusterfuck of, I'm going to grab it from here and throw it there. I'm going to grab this one here and throw it there. This sounds about right. Let's grab it here and put it there. Which ranged from everything from porn music, like bow chicka bow wow, to like epic fight music sung by monks. It was just a random assortment of stuff that just was put together in what they thought was the right place to put it. Then they also had the sound effects, which went from porn moaning, and I'm not kidding, porn moaning for like heavy breathing and so forth, to panting. And then they have seizurific effects. And I will get into the seizurific effects later, because what we're going to move on to now is the actual voice acting, where I brought up Seed of the Arcane. Seed of the Arcane had really two people doing voice acting, a girl and a guy, and then it was modulated to sound how they wanted it to, but it always modulated way badly because they have no idea how that thing works. This has only 3 people acting in it, and it covers like 25, 30 people that they play. It's ridiculous. I don't know how they managed it, but at least they covered it up a hell of a lot better than Seed of the Arcane. And I mean, it's not like it was a bad attempt, but they tried to make it a serious movie. Okay, it was a bad attempt. It was a horrible attempt. They should never have done that. Where they end up trying to make this serious situation occur, but they don't explain it well enough. But what they do explain is that Earth has great customer service when you're flying in on a spaceship. And when I say that, You fly there, and then a robot appears on your three-dimensional collie thingy and goes, "Please identify yourself, or you will be fined when you land." I'm like, "Oh, that's great." It reminds me of how about we give you 2 pennies, and we forget the name? All right, Mr. Smith, and it was like telling the automated system you want to talk to someone, but not actually pushing zero. She said it enough until, well, you could put it as a customer service representative popped up and said, like, "How can I help you?" And then she's like, "No, I need to speak to your manager." And so he's like, "No, but I can help you." "No, I want to speak to your manager." So he goes, and then the guy comes back, which happens to be like the senator of Earth. I wish that worked for like customer service for us when we're calling on a phone. But unfortunately, that's not how it works for us. I will get to the main point of this movie. This movie is made out of porn. Yes, that's right. I said it's made out of porn. When I say made out of porn, I mean all of the models, the women models and the male models, which is only like 2 or 3 of them, which they like interchange and they don't move nearly as much as the women do, are from like porn. And at first, it's like they try and cover it up. They try and cover it up by like giving them, I wouldn't call it like loose fitting clothing, but we're talking like clothing that allows it not to accentuate certain parts of the female anatomy. But they do it in such a bad manner. Like the clothes look like they float like 2 inches off your body. I mean, imagine that if you're wearing your clothes, but there's like 2 inches of space between everything. So it gives you lots of opportunities to see nip slips and so forth. And I actually mean nip slips because there's full blown nipples on these characters erected. And it reached a point where they ran out of clothes and they had to start using provocative clothes that came probably with their texture pack for these women. Because honestly, they ended up being very form fitting and allowed for space for the nipples by showing bumps and nipples, essentially nipples on tight fitting clothing. It was ridiculous. But I'll cover more into that aspect of becoming full on nudity at a later point in time. What I'm going to talk about now is the bad physics. We're talking like these character physics are almost non existent. Screw the rest of the movie's physics. We're talking like the movement of these characters. A paralyzed porn actor has more moves than these models. They can't frown. All they can do is smile, seductive poses, and we're talking they can open their mouth pretty damn wide. Which brings us back to the clothes and what I call the magic underwear. The magic underwear is going to come into the synopsis that I'm about to tell you because it's absolutely ridiculous. So I tell you now, if you've reached this point and you are interested in watching the movie, stop. Listen no more, because what I'm going to say now is pretty much the entire movie. Have you made your decision yet? Okay, then let's go. On a planet with almost no vegetation, there lives apparently a 70% population of women and a 30% population of men, just like you'd want any porno to start. Well, what it explains in this whole movie is absolutely nothing. It tells you absolutely nothing of what's going on. It kind of just starts you out with her in a room talking to supposedly God, which we'll cover later on, who's pretty much teaching her everything she wants to know. And then he says, like, "Don't go to the old town, or you'll get infected." It's like, okay, yeah, right. So she goes to the old town, obviously, and she looks through stuff and finds some weird orb that throws weird magical flying text and talks about Earth and talks about Rhinar, which find out that she lives on the planet Rhinar. She goes back to God and starts questioning about planets. Then he gets upset and leaves because she was like, "Well, that's a lie, and if God lies, you're not God." Which then throws belief out of alignment. No, not really, because it's all really about her, period. I thought there was like 2 characters in the beginning because of the clothes and whatnot, but it was just one. Ridiculous. So she decides, out of nowhere, that she wants to get closer to God, quote unquote. She arranges to get a job at a really boring thing where minerals or something get transported onto a cargo vessel which goes up past the Misty Green Sky. But obviously she had ulterior motives, so she hopped on the thing and started flying away. So we've already covered that they were trying to hide the aspect of boobs, nipples, nudity, and so forth there, which then they just kind of gave up. This is the point where they gave up, because on her way up, she ends up in a sexual floating angel pose, and then this machine starts sprinkling her with green stuff, and what ends up happening is her clothes dissolve. And we're not talking like it looks like it dissolves away. We're talking like they took it and said, like, we're going to make it transparent and now non existent. So now we have full on boobs beyond the nipples that we saw earlier in the movie. And so she's not only wearing boobs, she's wearing what I call the magic underwear. Magic underwear because this underwear floats 2 inches off the body, which gives you some nice views at the glorious camera angles that this movie is giving you. But she gets on this place. I mean, she doesn't even talk about her family or otherwise from the planet. She just goes, meh, I'm just going to go do this. But then she gets on the cargo ship, and while it's going up there, she finds out it goes to a space station. Without question, she just gets on the space station, even though now all she's wearing is panties. Without any form of decency whatsoever, she starts walking around and runs into like a dressing room. She goes to the dressing room, just walks straight up to it, grabs a tank top, and puts it on. Meanwhile, this fat guy starts walking by, and this is a creepy fat guy. And by creepy fat guy, I mean he was just like, this is the boys' locker room. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I guess I'll go find the girls' locker room. While she's still wearing just her magic underwear and now this tank top. If it was the guy's locker room, if a guy was wearing a tank top like that, he's probably playing for the other team. And then he's like, well, I'll see you in the sunroom. And I don't know what this character was for or any reason. He was just there. Now she's walking around the space station with the tank top and the magic underwear. But I didn't explain how the tank top looked. They ran out of clothes. So they're using the porn clothes because this is a tight-fitting tank top where the nipples are just pretty much you see them straight through the thing. And so she's walking around like that, no better than if she was wearing without the tank top. Go figure. And then she starts sneaking around and ends up in some kind of closet. I mean, it's not explaining where she's going or what she's doing. She's just exploring half naked. And when she gets in there, then Vegeta walks in wearing his scouter talking to this woman saying that, about minerals, about job opportunities, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, doesn't really cover anything and talks about Rhinar, her home planet. And so that they leave, and so she starts walking around again. She walks around into another room, which they still don't explain where she's going, and a lady comes in and goes, I don't recognize you, blah, 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 blah. And then she says, I am so-and-so from Rhinar. Lady freaks, but they don't freak because they can't frown, so she does her whole open mouth, wait to insert face, and starts running away. And while she's running away, the main character's like, I wonder why she's running. It's like, apparently something's wrong. So she goes out, and as soon as she leaves, a gold robot starts shooting at her with this laser gun. And this gets into the aspect of the lasers. Like the ship laser from earlier on in the story, which I didn't cover, has like a needle going in and out, and then all these stupid two-dimensional explosions happen. Nothing really is destroyed because I guess they didn't know how to do that. Well, this robot is like programmed like the same movement as the rest of them, and fires this laser that is so loud and annoying, and it's the same sound over and over again like a siren, a really, really bad siren. She starts running away, doing all this Matrix shit, and jumping off of walls, dodging, cartwheeling, this laser thing, like she knew that she was going to be doing this for in her life, so she trained hard for it. Then she gets into, I guess it would be the command center. She makes the command center, doors closed, but the lasers are flying through that door continuously. And while it's flying through that door, all these people are like falling over dead in slow motion while she's like off to the side. And the lasers are only going in one way, but everyone everywhere is dying and explosions are happening. And you're like, well, this is an interesting turn of events. And so she is crawling behind all these people while they're all dying and burning. And I mean, there's even a lady that's on fire that just has her mouth wide open, waiting to expect, and running down with the, common scream sound that you end up hearing. Everyone else is dying. No one actually burns. It's just bad fire on these people. Go figure. But she's behind them, crawling. But we're not talking crawling. We're talking like sexual crawling. Like if a girl was sexually crawling toward you, she's crawling under there in that doggy style position. Yeah, I'm getting graphic here, but that gives you an idea of what she's doing, which just furthermore proves the point that these are porn models and porn poses and stuff that they put in here. She escapes there, makes it down the hall while this place is burning, exploding, and people are screaming. She makes it down the hallway with like no concern for the people that just died or the robot that she just had to escape from, which no one even knows where the robot went. I think it went home back to its robot mother. These people come out of a doorway while she's hiding, and one lady's walking backwards while the guy's walking forward. The main character is flat out straight in front of her. there is no way that that lady could not see her. But this lady also is, working on the space station. She's wearing a shirt that's no farther than our main character's tank top, and it's unbuttoned and being held there with her boobs. I mean, more porn clothing. And so she's talking about, like, well, what happened since the girl from Rhinar made it onto the ship? And he's like, well, I guess we're going to have to blow it up. She's like, what? Blow it up? Couldn't we see what happens? Nope. Can't risk everyone dying. So then it goes outside of the space station. The lights go dark on the space station. And then next thing you know, you're having a seizure because all these lights are flashing in front of you with this annoying sound. And I mean flashing in front of you where I had to fast forward because I felt like I really was going to have a seizure from that. It was ridiculous. So she's running, everyone's screaming. I forgot to mention that the girl with that shirt started running, and when she was running, she started doing porn moans while she was running. And then, the horror scream that you hear from all the old B movies and whatnot, that was put on top of that. So she moaned, then she screamed, her mouth gaping open, waiting to expect, running down a hallway. The guy behind her just raised his hand like Hitler, and that was it. I mean, I couldn't figure out what that was. If he was trying to stop her, like, nah, I give up. So she's going back, the main character, down the hallway. But while she's running during all of this, her magic underwear turned to, like, normal women briefs. Same color as she's running. Then it pans over to another camera angle, and they've grown more. She's now wearing, like, woven shorts. It's like, okay, I'm not sure what kind of clothing you buy, but I would like to see this because it's technologically advanced. She makes it to a hangar. She gets onto a ship. The ship launches off. It's like she knows how this works, and for some reason, if the space station's on lockdown, why would the ship even launch to begin with? Now she's in space. She's curious about the thing about our planet called Rhinar, and she finds she knows how to operate the computer, operated the computer, found out that when the colony landed on there, that there was an epidemic from the food that was there that killed off everyone except for the children. The children were immune. Anyone who was born there was immune to this virus or whatever it was, but they were all carriers, which meant they had to be shunned onto that planet. That's why everyone on the space station had to die. So she learned all that and she was really disappointed, and this thing is apparently on autopilot for Earth, which doesn't cover that at all either. She starts getting toward Earth, and this is where the customer service representative thing comes in, blah blah blah, speaks to the senator. She says, like, I'm coming here, I'm going to end up killing you all because I'm infected and I can't stop the ship, blow me out of the sky, I'm ready. And so the ship goes and lands at Earth. Senator there, he hops on the ship, she's like, no, you're gonna die! And this is where it became really stupid. He goes, we're fine. The doctor that takes care of that thing is being removed from his position because he's doing nothing but lying. You're safe. Everything's fine. Which means that everyone on the space station didn't have to die. And then that's the end of the movie. After he says that, freeze frame, credits roll. That's the entire movie. But obviously for the last half of the movie, she's wearing that tank top she could poke people's eyes out with her nipples. It was an interesting experience that I had to share, and if you would like to experience it and everything I didn't cover in this review, it is called The Misty Green Sky. I don't classify it as anime, because I think it's like all American-made, glorious American-made stuff. So, if you folks had fun, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, do all the fun things that make me a happy camper, that make you a happy camper, that make me make more weird things, and if I ever do another review like this, it has to be something just as good as this movie. Thanks for watching. And sorry that this is at the end of the video, but it's just some more information I discovered after I made the whole recording slap together. Well, this gentleman who created this video actually planned on having a trilogy of videos in a trailer, which I'll provide a link below for you to go and view it at your leisure, as well as I'm going to provide a link to his Indiegogo site where he was trying to get donations to, well, fund his additional videos, which were never released and anticipated in 2016. With that in mind, he earned a local Emmy, or won a local Emmy, however you want to put it, which I think is ridiculously exaggerated given the aspect of his quality of work. I honestly wouldn't hire him to, do anything 3D, let alone 2D, and the aspect of the voice actors he hired, there was a total of 3 of them for the entire movie. We looked up the guy, And his voice acting, it's the same voice for everything he does, just slightly different. And he has no emotion. But you can go look that up yourself. Just go look up the Misty Green Sky, look up the cast, find his name. You'll find his stuff just like the rest of them. And honestly, I don't know how they plan on having jobs either. I hate to narc on them, but this entire movie was so bad, I actually had to make a review for it. So I thank you for watching.